And then also, let's see, what did I say? Taste, touch. Oh, touch. So I like touching things like fabrics and different things. So like I have this little pouch that used to be my grandma's, and because again I associate this with my grandma, I when I see it, I'm like, oh, like I feel, it just makes me feel warm and happy and like safe. So then, I'm less likely to what do you call it? I'm less likely to have a full blown episode. And again, with all of these things, like with grounding and stuff, when you do the grounding skills, like it's you learn in therapy, or if let's say you've seen it on here and stuff, the goal isn't to completely take away all of your symptoms. And like I think that's kind of the problem with seeing all these skills and stuff like online, just like you see it on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. It's like you don't get to hear the nuance of that, of like, so let's say with these grounding fields, like I still will dissociate even after I smell my thing, like my hands will start shaking, but I'm not gonna have a full-blown psychogenic seizure, right? I may still have the panic attack, but my panic attack, if it's on a scale of 1 to 10, I feel like it's a 20. I'm like, okay, it's down to a 10. And then now slowly come down to a 5. And it's about also building distress tolerance. Because it's not, because you don't, you can't avoid, if you have anxiety, you're not going to use grounding skills and like, voila, no more anxiety, woohoo, never going to have a panic attack again. Like, no, you're still going to have them. You're still going to deal with anxiety. You just want to lessen the blow of it, Okay, so I think I said touch. Was it? Yeah, taste, touch, and smell are what helped me the most. So for touch, I have. I already explained this. This pouch thing, but I also have. I can't find it now, but I had this therapist I worked with, so he and I would talk a lot about how after the trauma that I went through, like I felt like I couldn't trust myself. And by the end of our I worked with him for 2 years, and then I went back to Ohio for college. And before that, he gave me this trust stone that his therapist gave to him when he moved on from therapy, and he was like didn't need the regular therapy sessions anymore. And so he gave me that stone. It has the word trust on it. I can't find it, so I can't show it to you. But I've been carrying that with me like everywhere I go. And then I rub it, and then it's like, well, one, it has the letters on it, so I can feel that texture, and it's cold. And so that's one thing that can help. Or I have these coins, like I have this coin I got for this like residential therapy program I went to, and it's like it has texture. Or like I carry like different fabrics. I mean, from like design school, I have like different fabric swatches, like we call those like like the just the different fabric things. And then also ice works like beautifully for me. I don't know what that would, I guess that would be touch, but yes, like ice, like I've found out after I did this like DBT program like a few years ago that ice works because something to do with the diver's reflex. But basically, like I will get ice if I'm at home, or if I have access to ice, I'll hold ice in my hand, and then it I don't know the science behind it again, but it helps. I think it's like I think it like just kind of brings me back to, what do you call it, like the present. It Yeah, just look up the diver's reflex, and then you will see. But like obviously you can't carry your ice around all the time. So like for me, and sometimes like now I've holding ice kind of makes it can, it's like it used to work really well for me. And this is with like all of the things I've tried. Like they work really well for me, and it's almost like they have an expiry date. Like they work amazingly for me for like a few months or a year, and then like a year max it's like, oh, doesn't work as effective anymore. But that doesn't mean necessarily, and I think that's also another important thing, is like you're gonna learn a lot of like tools to help, like I kind of call it like my toolbox, like my mental toolbox or whatever, to help me get through stuff like anxiety or like having flashbacks or whatever. Like they're not always gonna work as well, right? Like you could because your mind changes, because you might have a worse episode of whatever today than you did 2 weeks ago, and so it's gonna take more effort to get through that. Yeah, but ice works. Let's see what else. Ice, and then also, like if you don't want to touch like something cold, like even having a hot water bottle, or those like thermoses, like get a thermos, fill it up with hot water, and it's not gonna burn you, obviously, so like you have that, and I'll hold that. And along with smell, sometimes like I've noticed, because I've kind of gotten like sick of having the ice, because it's really cold, obviously. Oh, and one more thing with the ice is, like, if you do use the ice, remember to put on your extremities. So like hold it in your hand, or put it on your feet, or like what do you call it, like you can hold it up to your face. And sometimes, like when I'm going out, I'll fill up a water bottle with mostly ice and then some water in there, so it's like I kind of have the same effect of the ice. And like when I'm driving, or if I'm going on a walk, or if I'm wherever, I can just hold on to the bottle, and it helps me. It's like one of the things that helps me to like be more calm, so that I feel like I can handle whatever it is I'm doing. Okay, and then for taste, so because was it touch, smell, taste? Yeah. So taste is one thing I've figured out, is like that helps a lot. Like for me, having strong tasting things, such as like having sour candy, something about it just like, I use the word like shock. It kind of like shocks me back into reality. That's like a very that's not what happens at all. Like obviously it's not the scientific or whatever, it's a very lay person way of like metaphorically putting it, but it basically, I think it brings me back to the present. So I'll carry sour candy with me so I can taste it. It could be like, or sometimes I'll have like, I think one time when I was having a really bad psychogenic seizure, I remember I was with the coworker, and because they knew what was happening, one of them like asked me if salt had ever worked, and so he had this salt packet, and he gave me some salt, and it was like magic. It was like it worked just as well as the ice for me, like so just having like a tiny bit of salt. And so now sometimes what I'll do is I'll carry salt in like a Ziploc bag with me. I just realized that probably would look off, but I mean, who cares. But yeah, so just like carry in like salt, or like sour candy, or like what do I have? I think I have bought some like berry flavored Tic Tacs. Basically the point of the taste, grounding through taste, is like what do you call it? I can't remember exactly right now. I probably have it in my notes. But basically, like, you focus on the taste of it, and like this is just my theory as a layperson, that like the strong taste of the sour candy or the sour whatever is gonna like bring it, like kind of brings me back to the present versus being in the flashback or whatnot. Yeah, and then for taste also, I've discovered that like having hot tea, that helps a lot. So like I buy teas that have a really strong taste. So like it could be a bitter taste, or it could be, personally I like kind of like a tart taste. So like there's one like raspberry tea that I really like. It's by Bigelow, I think. Basically like raspberry tea, or like any strong flavor. Like if you like mint tea, that I imagine that would probably help. I'm not the biggest fan of mint tea, so I stick to that. But again, the whole thing is, I think the strong taste of it, like, because I know in like CBT, like, with like therapists will tell you this all the time, like, oh, it's like you have this thought, now catch it, check it, change it. So you catch it, like, I have the thought that I'm unsafe, check it, like, which is what, am I actually unsafe? And then I assess, no, I'm not actually unsafe, I'm just in Target, no one is gonna, no one's gonna assault me. And then like they'll teach you, like, you're supposed to change that thought to, like, I don't know, I am safe. But like the thing is, that only works when you're not in like full blown like panic mode, or not in like a super depressive episode or whatever it is. So I like using sensory things like, yeah, like using your five senses to help me to come down to the point, come down from, let's say if I'm at like a 10 out of 10 with my dissociation. Well, that's a bad example, because if I'm a 10 out of 10, no one, I need other people's help. But let's say I'm a 10 out of 10 with the panic attack, right? Or I notice I'm starting to shake a lot. Like I'm very much just like, I know I'm about to have a bad psychogenic seizure. I can't change, I can't use the 3 C's. Cat the catch it, check it, change it. So I will use things for sensory, and then once my I guess like once my like a nervous system or whatever, my body calms, physically I feel calmer, and like then that's when I will be able to use that, like, you know, the changing your thoughts basically. And then for sights, like if you are someone that's good with, so like sights and like hearing or sounds, those two do work for me. But it, again, if I am like full blown like about psychogenic seizure or whatever, like it's not, nothing is gonna come through. Or even if I'm like really dissociating, or like if you're having a really bad panic attack, maybe it might not work for you, or you know, you're just, those things just don't work for me. I'm sure they work for a lot of people, but for me, like sights, so like I'm big on like visualizations. Like I have like I will imagine myself in the sun, and that's like something that comes naturally to me, so it doesn't take a lot of work, which is why it works for me. So yeah, that's one thing. Or you could say visualize yourself in I don't know, a favorite place of yours. Or you could literally just carry photos. Like I have I used to do this, where I would carry a photo of, I think it was just like this creek I used to go to. Like I took a photo, I printed it out, and that way I would just like bring it out and I would stare at it until I was able to until I noticed my, you know, my system calming down. Yeah, I think that's pretty much for sights. Or what you can do is, oh, another thing for sights is like naming, like let's say I was outside and I was walking, and I'm going to use the example of dissociation because that's what I struggle with the most, but this also works for panic attacks and other things. And again, don't expect the panic attack to go away. Don't expect, you know, it's not going to go away immediately. Your goal is to bring yourself down. It's going to happen slowly, or it could happen quickly, but most things can happen slowly. So let's say I'm walking outside and I notice my hands starting to go numb. For me, that's a sign that I'm going to dissociate. I'm about to have a fugue episode, or I'm about to have a psychogenic seizure. So what I will do is like I will say, like, let's say name 3 great things, and I'll name 3 great things, and then I'll say how many birds are there. So I'll count how many birds are there, I'll count how many times, or I'll count like how many green things I see, how many green leaves do I see. I say leaves because I'm obsessed with leaves. Or I guess like right now, let's say I was just started to dissociate right now. Let's say I was starting to tremble and whatever, which means that my psychogenic seizure has started and I want to bring myself down, right? So I would probably like open this and I would smell it. Or if I can't open it, because a lot of times, you know, I don't have the mobility, I will literally just like keep this on my bedside. I'll grab it, and I'm not able to think, and I'm like, I don't know about other people, but for me, when I'm having a really bad panic attack, I can't think, I can't see, I can't hear, nothing. Like you could be talking to me and it's gibberish. So that's why these sensory things work, because in order to do a lot of these CBT methods you learn in therapy, or, you know, wherever you learn them from, you need to be able to have like like right now, I'm not able to have, like, what's the word, cognizant? No, I don't know, thoughts. Like, I can't, it's hard for me to read things or like have thoughts coming. So it's gonna be hard. So you grab your sensory thing, right? You grab it. So like for me, let's say I hold this, right? And you don't even necessarily need to what do you call it, think about like, oh, what is the texture? Because that's usually what is the texture. But if you're on your own and you're in like a full blown episode, it's probably gonna be hard. So just hold it. And like for me now, because I've been doing this for like a while now, I know I can already feel, just by like rubbing this, I can feel my heart rate starting to slow. I can feel my, like, I feel some sensation in like my first two fingers. And then like now I'm noticing like, oh, my heart is beating at a normal pace. Like I can see normally. What do you call it? My vision is normal. I can feel my feet on the ground. Okay, now I know I can do the CBT stuff. Or I can do the grounding that is the grounding where I need to like think. So like let's say like right now, right? So I did my sensory thing, one thing. Sometimes that's not going to be enough, so then I'll open this and I'll smell it, or I'll put the scent on, and then I'll move on to, let's say, I don't know, and let's say if I was just in my bed right now. Why am I saying if I was? I am. And I notice my heart starting to race a little bit right now, right? So now I know, okay, I need to do more than just the sensory stuff. So let's say, I don't know, name 5 pink things, right? So that's what you would say to yourself. Name 5 pink things, or whatever color you want to say. For me, I see a lot of pink. So there's a pink towel, that's one. There's a pink mannequin. There's a pink salwar. That's a dress thing. There's a pink like frame, and there's a pink box. And what that does is I'm looking around the room and I am seeing that I can recognize all these objects, and if I can recognize them, that means I am here in the present, I am in my room, and I am safe. That's what it means to me. So that's this is a very like watered down version of what therapists will do with you, good therapists will do. But basically that's what you want to do. Because a lot of times panic attacks, I mean, that is what it is, right? It's a very much like a fear thing. It's like your body reacting to a situation. Yeah, I'm sure you guys already know that. And then for sounds, like you could do, like what I've done is like one of these like visualizations I did at one of the like group therapy in like this other program. So I love any bodies of water and like waterfalls, the sound of waterfalls and stuff. And so we did this visualization a couple of years ago with this like other therapist I was with. And that visualization was really helpful for me. But again, when I'm really in that like in a deep episode, I can't think of the visualization on my own. So I had my therapist record what I like, that visualization. It was a prompt, like think of the lavender waterfall and feel it going down your body, or like feel the rush of the water on your face or whatever it was. So I had her record that on my phone, and now like I've also just sent it to some of my friends and my mom, so that if like I can't get to it, I'll ask them to play it for me. Or if I notice myself, like right now I'm noticing my hands are getting numb again. I don't know why. But like I would, if I wasn't filming this right now, I would probably listen. I would open in the voice memos app, I open that app, and then I listen to that. So you can have, your therapist record like a grounding thing you like, or you can have, I don't know, your partner, your friend, whoever's voice you find calming, and then play that before, like let's say you identify triggers for your anxiety, for panic attacks. Like for me, that's stepping out of the house. So I'll listen to that before I step out of the house. I will spray my perfume that helps me feel safe and whatever before I leave the house. So that way I'm like, okay, I am calming my system down before I leave, so that in anticipation that of like the fact that I know I will have a panic attack. And then another thing is like, so I like to, like today, for example, today I had gone to I was planning to go to my aunt's house to help her style an outfit for a wedding. And then I was really excited for it. But then again, I have this fear of leaving the house because of sexual trauma. So I was getting ready and I started to panic. And so I like tried to use so what I did was like, I drank a little bit of coffee, because coffee is a strong taste. So that's like using your the taste part of it, right? So like I drank some coffee, and then what else did I do? And like I really tried to focus on the taste of the bitterness of it. And then taking a shower has been triggering for me. I always have flashbacks in the shower, and it's like excruciatingly painful. It has been for the last 7 years. But what I do for that is like I'll use the smell, right? So the smell part is like I have a body wash that's like smells like lavender, and lavender reminds me of my cousin, who again is a safe person for me. So then it's easier for me to remember that I'm safe, and and then so then I came out and I did my makeup, because like doing my makeup is something that helps me relax. And then another thing I use is when I'm leaving the house, or even if I'm not leaving the house, even if I'm in the house, like and I just feel like I want my day to start off well, like I'll wear jewelry that a friend or a friend or family has given me, like these earrings and this necklace my friend gave to me a couple of years ago. And again, this friend is like she's a good friend, and like when I think of her, I feel calm and I feel like peaceful and whatever. And then this necklace a nice friend of mine gave to me, really good friend of mine, again reminds me of her. So then I'm like, oh right, I can get through this. And then it's actually really nice. She gave me like, it's of my cats. Yeah, it's of my cats. And so like when I think of my cats, I think of the fact that like if such a small being can defend itself, I can against like humans, when they think they're in danger, I can definitely defend myself. So that helps me to feel strong. So like I'll wear this jewelry even like after I've taken a shower, even like when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, today's a bad day. So I'll just put the jewelry on. Does this stop me from having panic attacks and flashbacks and psychogenic seizures? No, but it does lessen them. And I think that's another thing that I've seen so much. Well, that's just like kind of the culture that we live in, right? It's like very much black or white thinking, like either I'm depressed and I'm this, or I'm happy. Like, no, you're not, that's not the point of, learning. It's about managing. It's not about like getting rid of it. I mean, obviously you want to get rid of the panic attacks. Who doesn't want to get rid of panic attacks and feeling depressed and having SI and like flashbacks? But that's just not how our bodies work. It's like it's like with, I don't know, like with, I'm gonna go into like ramble mode, so I'll just stop here. And the one important thing I forgot to say though is about caffeine. So I learned this like the first time I did like this intensive outpatient program thing. So I remember like for obvious reasons, you weren't allowed to like have alcohol while you were in the program. And they also said back then that no caffeine either. And I remember asking them why no caffeine. And one of the therapists said like caffeine, when you drink caffeine, like what caffeine does to your body, it resembles what symptoms you will have when having a panic attack. Like, I've noticed this because of my psychogenic seizures and fugue episodes and just overall dissociative episodes and stuff. For the last few years, I've had to learn what I feel when I take in, like to the nth degree. So like I notice exactly what happens and stuff if I'm like, anyways. So with caffeine, yeah, so like if you notice the next time you drink coffee, like when you to wake up, like notice like what is going on in your body. Does your body get warmer? Not because you drank a warm cup of liquid, but it's like, is your body getting warmer? Is your heart racing? you know, is your heart beating faster? Do you start to tremble a little bit? It might be, you know, and like obviously that's kind of the point to help. That's what helps to wake you up. And I still, like I said, I like coffee because of the strong taste, but it also can make me a bit anxious. So I try to be mindful. Like I'll have like this much coffee in the morning to, I like that because it's like it's a strong taste, right? So like I like to use that for that purpose. And like I'm not saying don't drink coffee, you know, if you have anxiety, but it is important to keep in mind that having coffee when you have anxiety will probably increase your panic attacks or like your panic or the anxiety symptoms. Um, and also like, so I did all this stuff, right? Went through my whole routine of like the shower thing, whatever I explained the last whatever slide. And I was able to get through and I was able to help my aunt, and I actually felt really confident and good. Again, even when I was there, was I trembling? Did I start to have psychogenic seizure? Yeah, I did. It's just, it is what it is. Like since the pandemic, my symptoms have gotten like 10 times worse. I've just had to accept it. But I got through it. I helped her. I felt good about the fact that I helped her. I enjoyed spending time with her and my mom. And yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to like share that like it wasn't like I wasn't able to go. I was able to go after doing all those things. And on average, up until like a month and a half ago, it used to take me, like I had to come to terms with the fact that it took me 5 hours to get ready and leave the house if I didn't, like, to prevent a psychogenic seizure or a fugue episode or anything from happening. And that sucks, but I think it's also, you know, I just want to acknowledge that, like, it's something you have to learn to acknowledge, you know, when you go from being able to, like, I don't know, like live normal or like live with your symptoms and stuff and still function, keep going and going to like, if you're at a point now where you cannot do those things, like, I just want to acknowledge that it's hard. That is kind of like a grieving thing you have to do to go through that. Grieve the fact that you can't live the life you did before. Yeah.